Turn now to the terrifying moments for passengers on board a Delta passenger jet after a close call with a U.S. Air Force B-52 bomber. The Delta pilot saying he was forced to make a sudden hard turn to avoid the bomber. Passengers now describing the plane on its side. They could actually see the ground. The incident under investigation tonight, and the Air Force now confirming a B-52 aircraft did conduct a flyover of the North Dakota State Fair at the time of the flight. Here's Gio Benitez.
Tonight, the FAA and the Air Force are investigating how a Delta regional jet coming in for landing at Minot International Airport in North Dakota got on a collision course with a B-52 bomber. It's unclear how close the two jets came to each other, but the military jet seen here had its location turned off and was executing a flyover at a state fair about half a mile from the runway. Moments later, you can see the Delta flight operated by SkyWest on approach with 76 passengers on board. The pilot telling passengers he had to perform an aggressive maneuver to land the plane safely after that military aircraft became visible in their flight path.
For those of you on the right-hand side, you probably saw the airplane kind of sort of coming at us. Nobody told us about it, so given his speed, I felt it was the safest thing to do to turn behind it. This is not normal at all.
Tower either failed to communicate or the B-52 crew failed to communicate that they were going to be cutting across the runway center line. And so this was obviously quite a shock for the pilot of the regional jet to see this massive, fast-moving B-52 coming across his flight path.
And David, it is critical that we find out exactly what happened here because, of course, it was just 6 months ago when a military helicopter collided with an American Airlines jet, killing all 67 people. David.
Our aviation correspondent Gio Benitez with us here tonight. Thank you, Gio. Now to the life-threatening heat. More than 90 million Americans under heat alerts at this hour. In New York City, it'll be in the high 90s by week's end. It'll feel well above 100. And the storms tonight across several states at this hour moving east. A dramatic water rescue in Kansas City, Missouri. A woman clinging to a tree in Indian Creek. First responders arriving by boat. In Maine, the moment a roof was ripped off a house, nearly hitting a driver in this car right here. Just in tonight, disturbing new video obtained by TMZ showing the moment police say a driver intentionally plowed into a crowd in Los Angeles. What led to this moment in Hollywood? And authorities say it was a miracle. No one was killed. Here's our chief national correspondent, Matt Gutman, with the video tonight and a warning. It is disturbing.
Tonight, that horrifying video showing multiple angles of the moment a man drove his car into a crowd outside a club in Hollywood, California. The horror unfolding at around 2 a.m. Saturday morning with dozens of people standing outside the venue. According to the LAPD, the suspect had been kicked out of the club, drove away, then made a U-turn onto the sidewalk.
The vehicle struck a food cart and then came to rest at a light pole. It was an intentional act.
At least 30 people were hurt. Bystanders then pulling the driver out of the car, beating him, and one of them even shooting the suspect before fleeing on foot, according to police. Police then releasing this photo of that suspect. They have also identified the man they say rammed the nightclub as 29-year-old Fernando Ramirez, who was taken to the hospital to treat his gunshot wound and then booked on suspicion of assault with a deadly weapon.
And David, if that suspect is charged and convicted on multiple counts of assault with a deadly weapon, he could face dozens of years in prison. As for the victims, David, thankfully, all of them are expected to recover.
Next here to a horrific case in upstate New York. The father who told police his 9-year-old daughter was abducted in a white van, then leading to an Amber Alert, is now charged himself with her murder. Tonight here, the daughter's last call to her mother, and here's our chief investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky.
Tonight, this father is in custody, charged with killing his 9-year-old daughter after telling police she had been abducted near Lake George in upstate New York by a stranger in a white van.
Female was taken approximately 15 minutes ago. We believe it was the exit 22 rest stop. They stopped for a bathroom break for her.
Police issued an Amber Alert Saturday night, but say they quickly determined Luciano Fratolin's story did not hold up. Melina Fratolin was found dead Sunday morning in a remote pond. The two had been driving home to Montreal from a seemingly normal vacation in Connecticut and New York City.
At about 6:30 p.m., she spoke to her mother on the phone and told her she and her father were en route back to Canada.
Melina lived with her mother, who was estranged from the father. Police say the mom had not been worried about the father-daughter trip. No word on a motive tonight, David. Police said the father has no criminal history and no history of domestic violence. He's charged with murder and concealing a corpse. No comment from his attorney. David?
Aaron Katursky with us here. Aaron, thank you. Overseas tonight to the horrific images of fighter jet crashing into a school in Bangladesh. At least 20 people killed, many of them children. And the stories now coming in of students rushing in to help. Here's ABC's Tom Sufi-Burridge.
Tonight, a devastating scene in Bangladesh after a fighter jet slammed into a school. At least 20 people killed, more than 100 injured. Students rushing in to help as fierce flames and heavy smoke engulfed the building in the capital Dhaka, trapping many inside. First responders pouring water on the wreckage, searching for survivors. Officials say the jet crashed into the second floor of the building, filled with third and fourth graders. The youngest victim, just 5 years old. The Chinese-made jet suffering a technical malfunction shortly after takeoff, while on a routine training mission. Authorities say the pilot made a valiant attempt to avoid densely populated areas before crashing into that school. David, the country's interim leader calling the loss of life irreparable as authorities launch a full investigation. David?
All right, Tom Sufi-Burridge with us as well. Tom, thanks. Tonight, Israel expanding its operation into Gaza. Dozens of Palestinians reportedly killed while they were seeking aid. And it comes just days after the Catholic Church there that the late Pope Francis would call daily was hit in Gaza too. Here's Ian Pannell.
Tonight, nearly 100 people killed trying to get food aid in Gaza, according to the Hamas-run health ministry. The Israeli military accused of opening fire on desperate crowds. Hospitals overwhelmed with the dead and wounded. This man saying they raised their hands in peace to the soldiers, but the bullets came anyway. Israel disputing the death toll, saying they fired warning shots to remove an immediate threat, but they haven't said what the threat was. And with supplies running out, the need is crushing. The frustration of not being able to look after my baby is indescribable, she says. It comes just days after that deadly Israeli strike on Gaza's only Catholic church, the same church the late Pope Francis would call nearly every day.
David, the White House tonight admitting President Trump caught off guard by that church attack and quickly phoning Prime Minister Netanyahu of Israel. Netanyahu then issuing a statement saying the church attack was an accident that Israel deeply regrets. David?
All right, Ian Pannell with us tonight. Ian, thank you. When we come back, a lot more news ahead. The case that rocked New York City and the nation, the Eitan Pates case, and what a judge has now decided tonight, all these years later. It's making news. Also, a top college football recruit has been killed, an 18-year-old freshman. And tonight here, we remember a well-known actor. He appeared in more than 70 TV shows, and you'll definitely remember his work. Tonight, a major turn in the missing child case that shook New York City and the nation, the disappearance of Eitan Pates, one of the first children to appear on a milk carton. A federal appeals court today overturning the conviction of Pedro Hernandez, ruling he should either be retried or released from prison. Hernandez confessed to luring the 6-year-old into a basement in Manhattan and killing him in 1979. His body was never found. The court finding the trial judge's jury instructions prejudiced the verdict. Tonight, authorities are searching for the suspects after the deadly shooting of a top college recruit, a football recruit at Ole Miss. Authorities say freshman Corey Adams was shot and killed just 10 minutes after arriving at a party outside Memphis. He was just 18 years old. When we come back tonight, we remember a well-known actor, more than 70 TV shows. To the Index, we learned today that actor Tom Troop has died. His career spanning decades, movies, TV, theater, more than 70 TV shows, including the original Star Trek and Mission Impossible. A Korean War vet, he received the Bronze Star for his service. He was 97. When we come back tonight, the world's top-ranked golfer celebrating his big win, but it was his little guy who stole the show. Finally tonight, American Scottie Scheffler, his big win, but it was his little guy folks were rooting for too. Tonight, hear the baby who stole the show. 29-year-old American Scottie Scheffler winning the British Open, but it was his 14-month-old son who adorably stole the spotlight.
Scottie Scheffler has his Open championship.